Good morning everybody and welcome back to another video. This is going to be the second time I've had to record this piece because my microphone decided it wasn't going to work on me, so I just ended up with a load of static when I came to edit this together. Fantastic. Annoyingly, I can't actually pause the recording midway and then go back and check that it's actually recorded, so I'm just going to have to do this all again and hope that it works. Let's continue. Today we are taking a look at the T-64BV. More specifically, we're taking another look at its armour values. Now, I saw this in one of Slick's most recent videos, which I'm sure you've all watched. It's stupid that I have to actually find out about these things via other YouTubers, but unfortunately I'm crap and don't keep as much, don't keep track on the updates to the game as much as I should. You know, the smaller updates, the bug fixes and minor patches and things like that. However, the T-64BV, apparently, this is the T-64B with the ERA modification attached, as I have here, has had the front of the hull and the front of the turret armour increased. Now, if anybody had told me this and I hadn't had the tank to play it to find out, I would have assumed that that was probably not as good as it sounded. However, I managed to get a game in it where, let's just say I was against about 3 or 4 enemy tanks sat directly to my 12 o'clock, and I survived and killed 2 of them. So, well, I killed, was it 1 or 2? I killed some of them and I survived. That's the important part. I survived. So I was genuinely quite surprised, and I tried to replicate this to get some more footage for this video and haven't been successful yet. Now, that may have just been a fluke, that game. It's entirely possible that I just got incredibly lucky, which doesn't happen very often, as I'm sure you can tell by watching any of my videos. I'm not the best player in the world, I fully admit it. I have tried to repeat that and have thus far not been successful. Nevertheless, the armour has definitely improved. Now, this isn't the only bug fix that they've actually done, or patch that they've actually done. They've also increased the armour on the Challenger and renamed it to the Challenger Mark II. The gun has also had its ammo changed slightly, but I'm not going to go into too much detail in that regard because I don't want to give you false information. So if you want to find out more about that, then I advise you to go and look at War Thunder's website and look at the patch notes or what have you yourself. For now though, let's take a look at the T-64B's armour. Now, I can't actually remember what the original armour values were when it was added with this ERA modification, so I'm kind of reliant on you guys to help me out a little bit here. If you can find the original armour values yourselves and post the information in the comments below, what it was when it first got added, when the modification first got added to the game in the recent patch, please let me know, so that we can all look at the numbers and compare and contrast and see how much they have actually increased it. Nevertheless, they've only increased the front of the hull and the front of the turret. The rest has been left the same, as far as I'm aware. Of course, the ERA blocks are 70mm thick, just by themselves. Rolled homogeneous armour on the front of the hull is 60mm thick by itself, so that's 130mm before you even go into the composite. On the front of the turret we have 130 there, 140 there, getting thicker as it goes across, with 70mm on top of that. So that's 210mm of thickness before we even get into the composite. Of course, this is 210mm of thickness against kinetic. That's what we need to remember at this stage. This is not the composite as such. This is the, you know, that has the effective thickness of 70mm regardless, or at least that's how it displays it here in the hangar. Same deal on the other side as well, 70mm there, 70mm there, so that's 140. I think this side of the turret is actually, oh hang on, 330mm of, yeah, okay, that's quite impressive. Yeah, that's actually not bad at all. 130 there. See, the ERA actually covers the side of the turret more on the left than it does on the right, because you have this, what would you call that, a spotlight on the side of the turret. I don't know if it's actually a night vision light or not, infrared. I don't know. We have that light on the side of the turret, so that covers there. 10mm on the lower plate, no ERA on the lower plate, no composite on the lower plate. The composite armour itself, 60mm of armour, then some text light, then another 30mm, then text light, and then another 45mm on the front of the hull. 370mm of effective thickness against chemical. So this is ATGM and heat. including the composite armour on the turret. Porcelain, that's what, 140mm plus 150, that's 290, plus 110, that's 400mm of thickness there, just from the composite armour itself without the ERA. And then we add the ERA on top of that, so we're looking at 400. Hang on, is that kinetic? Yeah, that's just our old homogeneous armor. So let's say that this had let's say that the cast turret armor itself, composite turret armor itself, has 300mm of effective thickness or what have you on its 400mm of effective thickness against heat on its own, and then add 370 to that. 770mm of effective thickness against heat and ATGMs. That's quite impressive. Now it's worth noting at this stage that, as far as I'm aware, none of the tanks I was fighting against were actually firing heat at me. They were all firing Sabo, because that's the meta at top tier. This is kind of the problem with adding ERA plating to your tank at this tier, is that most people aren't really firing the sort of ammunition that it protects you against. Or at least that's what I would have assumed. But anyway, that's the armor values for you. Let's jump into the gameplay and let's just see how it works, shall we? So, without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. Once again, I got this, what was it? It used to be the Battle of the Bulge map, didn't it? Like, they've renamed it. I can't remember the name of the damn thing now. But I got this map again. I actually got this map 2 times in my attempts to get the same. I keep losing my train of thought. Red, you're shit. Yes, mate, I know. But you don't come here for the, professionalism. You come here for my personality, I imagine, because I've got bugger all else going for my channel at this stage. Yeah, I got this map 2 or 3 times in my attempts to get the same results that I got in this match. There's the first bounce. I don't actually know what that was that hit me. I don't know where it hit me exactly. It looked like it hit me in the side of the turret, but I actually have no idea. I just saw a puff of smoke after the shell hit. I could have quite easily died there, to be quite honest with you. During my 2, 3, 4 attempts in getting these results again to get more footage, I realised that, as I said, the side armour has not been improved. From the side, this thing is still a powder keg waiting to blow, with that carousel ammo rack at the bottom of the turret for the autoloader. But this is entirely accurate. The side armour of main battle tanks, even today, is still bad in comparison to the front. Front towards enemy at all times, if and where possible. This is just basic War Thunder knowledge, really, or I consider it basic War Thunder knowledge, at top tier at least. There are some tanks in the game where their side and rear armour is actually quite impressive. My KV-1E, the Soviet KV-1B, because the B is the Finnish captured version, which I still haven't got, Gaijin, but I digress on that regard. The side and rear armour on that thing, when angled, can actually be quite impressive, and that was at one stage my main grinder for Lions in the game. And then I got the XM1, and everything else has basically just become superfluous. But the XM1 is another topic for another video. Well, I've reviewed it, so if you want to know more about that tank, go and check out the review video, I suppose. Shameless plug. Anyway, at this stage in the match, I have captured B, as you've just seen, and I'm heading my way towards C. I know that there is an enemy tank in C at the moment, but it gets taken out just as I'm coming around the corner, so they stop capturing the zone, which allows me and my friendly player who took him out to start capturing it. Or is it just me? I think it's just me. The friendly that took the other XM1 out was sat further away, so I don't think he manages to get into the cap in time. Hide myself behind this building as best I can, and hope for the best, really. Now, when I set out to do this footage, I was not hopeful that the armour had actually been improved substantially enough to make a difference. Most of the time where I've played my T-64BV and tried to rely on the armour, I've driven out in front of a tank, at an angle mind you, not straight on, and the shell has just penetrated regardless. Now, I've said before, at top tier in War Thunder, you cannot rely on your armour. No matter how good your armour is on paper, 9 times out of 10 the enemy player is more than capable of killing you from the front. There's weak spots to take in consideration. There's the second bounce of this match. That come from range. We have a second shot incoming. There's the third bounce. The fourth sets my fuel tank on fire, so that was not a bounce. First shot I return fire at takes out a Challenger Mark II. Next shot takes out my engine, or I think I actually hit my transmission, but it comes up as engine anyway. Return fire on the XM1. I'm taking hits the entire time, by the way. You can see the shells coming over my head, hitting my tank. Third round I fire back, takes out the second dude. I should have been long dead at this point. I'm sat at an angle, which is the whole reason that that guy actually managed to penetrate and take out my engine in the first place, my transmission or whatever you want to call it. I should have been dead, and I do die after this recording finishes because I get shot in the side, but that's, you know, like I said, the side armour has not been improved, neither is the rear. It's supposed to be weak. That's the whole point of a main battle tank. Front armour towards enemy at all times. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If somebody lets me know what the armour values actually were, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next War Thunder video. Cheers!